All right, crack open a tepid Genesee. Watch the pictures as they travel through your neighbor's Wi-Fi. It's the Reese Company. I'm Steve Reese, the bull of American broadcasting, alongside the great Chris Morganti. How are you, Chris?
I'm good. I hear you have an interesting film for us to look at this week.
Yes. Strictly speaking, not a movie of the week.
Okay.
But I say we're going to hit the intro anyway, just for fun. Not a TV movie as we know it. It's something called Nobody Told Me, and it's a 1983 UK public information film meant to educate the British people on household safety.
Oh, now who made this film?
I believe it was an insurance organization.
That's not what I heard.
The National Insurance. Okay. Now, some of the advice we're about to hear, it may seem like common sense today, but at that point in history, a lot of Britain was just plain confused.
Okay.
And I think this explains the title, Nobody Told Me.
Oh.
Imagine being our age now, over there in that era. You turn on Top of the Pops, and all the male rock stars are wearing makeup and dresses, and you'd probably think, well, I didn't know all this was going on. I mean, it's perfectly fine, but am I meant to be doing this as well? Nobody told me.
Yeah, I see.
Is it all right if I stick with me keks? So then you turn the dial and the sitcom The Young Ones is on. And you think, oh, so this is what we're doing now? Comedy is just yelling? Loud equals funny? Okay, well, nobody told me. And so on and on and on until you start to question everything you think you know.
Okay.
So millions of people, as a result of this unintentional cultural gaslighting, they were making a lot of stupid mistakes around the house and incurring physical harm as a result.
I was wondering how you were going to tie all that together. Now I get it.
Yeah, and it wasn't just middle-aged men who were affected.
Oh.
Young mothers also fell victim, like Caroline, for example.
Number 706. Who's that? So hello, Jerry. How are you? So if I ran to your house, say, about 6:30? Good, good. So he hasn't sold his computer then? Still with his home computers?
Brian May.
I thought you might have been.
Yeah.
That baby is a way better actor than Lily Gladstone of Killers of the Flower Moon.
You didn't care for her performance?
I did not, as you will see in another one of our segments we're releasing this week. Now, Steve, you said you did not know who made this film. So I looked it up. It was the Royal Society for Prevention of Accidents.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's a real thing.
Now, that situation we just saw play out, you may think that's unlikely and uncommon.
Apparently, a lot of people made homemade French fries, or crisps, as they call them in the UK.
Yeah.
Apparently, that was a big thing in the early 80s.
Potato chips are crisps. French fries are chips.
Homemade chips, then.
Yes.
Yeah, gotcha.
Well, this film wants you to know that that's not the case. As you pointed out, Chris, a lot of people not only make them at home, a lot of times it turns tragic.
Yeah.
And as proof, they cite the most British statistic I've ever heard.
Oh, okay.
Almost every day, fires kill people and destroy homes. Last year, fire brigades had to deal with over 14,000 fires caused by burning chip pans.
Yeah, chip pans.
Chip pans.
Yeah. You could make anything in that pan, but they call it a chip pan.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think that's because it has the grate that you pull out. And
oh, that's part of it.
yeah, where the grease Well, it's like a sieve.
I've seen French fries made before.
Yeah. What a British statistic. Why, more annual deaths are caused by chip pan fires than the combined death tolls of errant works lorries and snooker matches gone wobbly. So we next learn that children are accountable for a quarter of all household accidents. So it's important to create a safe living space for the kids.
Try and see your home from their point of view. How easily could they reach something which could be dangerous? When you've identified the dangers, you can find a remedy, as they have in this house. The room is small and the windows inevitably quite accessible. So they've fitted child-proof locks. They weren't very expensive and they were fitted in minutes.
Yeah. So I guess it's safe to say that on the night that this aired, Eric Clapton was watching Coronation Street.
He was otherwise engaged.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, there is no cure for injuries sustained when a toddler falls 53 stories from a window to the pavement. But a toddler falling 53 stories from a window to the pavement can be a cure for writer's block.
Well, he's had it coming. I'm glad you're giving him the business, Steve. He's had it coming.
Yeah. Now, cure for writer's block, I mean, at least it's good enough for one verse because that's all he could be bothered to come up with on his own. Your thoughts on Eric Clapton, Chris?
He should have contacted the Royal Society for Prevention of Accidents. They could have given him some material for his lyrics.
Yes. Any thoughts on Eric Clapton? You did react positively to my criticism.
Well, I don't know. He's okay. I liked him on that Beatles album. That was good.
Yes. One of the only appealing things he's ever done, in my opinion. He's a great technical guitar player. He knows where all the notes are, but he has no feeling. There's no emotion in his playing. And that really stands out when you hear the Derek and the Dominoes album, Layla.
Okay.
But there was a second lead guitarist on that album, Duane Allman.
Oh, okay.
And so he was able to elevate the material to a heartbreakingly human level. Duane Allman had soul. Eric Clapton does not. Duane Allman made up for in soul what he lacked in motorcycle brakes.
Man, you're really hitting out on everyone today.
And I'm sure Eric Clapton's a very nice man. I don't know. I do know I Can't Stand It. That's a tune. But on a planet where there's been a Hendrix, a Van Halen, a Prince, a Knopfler, and practically anyone with the last name King, to the bull, Clapton doesn't rate as an all-timer. But we're here to learn about public safety, Chris.
Yeah. Let's not get off track.
Yeah. I'll bet you don't spend much time thinking about electricity.
Okay, that's a weird statement. I don't know how to react to that.
Well, do you?
I mean,
Do you spend much time thinking about electricity?
well, that's a good point. I think when you think about it the most is when you don't have it, and then you realize how valuable it is.
Do you think about whether or not your home is safely electrified?
Oh, I know it's not. So there's really no need to think about it.
Okay. Well, for those of you who don't think much about electricity, you may be doing so at your peril. Why? Well, let's find out together, shall we?
The electrical apparatus causes fires, and the handiwork of do-it-yourself electricians causes trouble every day. Using time-lapse photography, we can show what will happen over a much longer period when the insulation fails. A fire may well result, as it did in this case. When a husband and wife died, the coroner blamed the husband's do-it-yourself wiring. If you've got to extend a cable, use the right equipment for the job. And unless you've been trained to do the job properly, call in a qualified electrician. It's usually cheaper in the long run.
And if you can't afford a professional, once the job is done by your mate from down the pub, have a trained professional look the job over to vet it for quality. And if you can't get a trained professional to assess it, why not get the late Prince Philip?
This looks like it was put in by an Indian.
Not our words, the actual words of the former Duke of Edinburgh upon examining an electrical box back in 1999. So,
Steve, that they said before that the wife blamed it on the husband's do-it-yourself wiring. As someone who's been married was married for almost 2 decades, I suspect what happened was he said, we should call the electrician. And she said, "Oh, we don't want to spend money on that. Why can't you fix anything yourself?" And then when it goes afoul,
Yeah. Fingers are pointed.
Yeah.
In the wrong direction. Chris, hazards abound.
Sure.
We have pyromaniac chip pans, child murdering windows, and it's not included here, but around this time, there was also one report of a man who was blinded with science.
Oh, no.
Dangerous time to be alive in Britain. Let's see what else is just sitting around the house, biding its time and waiting the strike.
Is it the same guy who wore his sunglasses at night?
No, different guy.
Oh, okay.
And he was Canadian.
Okay.
Equipment in constant use must be regularly serviced. Don't expect it to work forever, or you may be in for a painful reminder.
All right, I think we can stop this there.
And
Yeah. I mean, Steve, where do you get an electric blanket serviced?
Good day, sir. I'd like you to service my blanket.
Fuck you.
So if we've established anything, Chris, it's that your house and everything in it is trying to maim or kill you. So it's important to remain sober at all times. You don't want to impair your judgment with alcohol. Otherwise, like the man we're about to see, you can fall victim to a very specific affliction, or as I call it, a specifiction.
In their own homes. Again, the things which cause trouble are often quite simple.
it happened on a Christmas Day. Some relatives and friends came to me, and we had a bit to drink. And I got drunk and went to bed. Then 2 hours later, I woke up. I wanted to go to the toilet.
And I could only talk like Lacta Gravis.
Man, that is a guy. That's a fellow who can't handle his alcohol.
Yes.
I mean, I've had some rough nights, a lot of rough nights, but never came close to being paralyzed. Jesus.
Okay, we return again to the threat of juvenile defenestration.
I couldn't quite hear the clip that we just played.
Okay.
Did we get the explanation of how all that happened?
Well, we didn't get the full explanation.
Are we going to see that?
No, well, that kind of... shall we do it again, and I can just take the joke out? Because we're...
Wait, why would we do that?
Okay, let me write it here, too. All right.
I couldn't understand what the dude was saying.
Now I'm just confusing everybody.
He slipped on a child's toy.
Yeah.
Because he was drunk.
Yeah, and he paralyzed himself.
Yeah. Did we hear that, though?
I don't think we heard that.
Yeah,
I just wanted people to hear how the guy was talking because that was the joke.
I gotcha. Okay.
All right. So we return again to the threat of juvenile defenestration.
Forethought. This is the sort of glass you'd expect to find in an ordinary plate glass window. Perhaps you've got one at home. This weight is 45 kilos, about the weight of a 7-year-old child. Now, if that child stumbles and accidentally falls against or runs into the window, let's see what's likely to happen.
Cut. Okay, take away the weight. Bring in the 7-year-old. It's okay. He's a ginger smoggy. So after the demonstration, the narrator, as they might say, returns to remind us of all the domestic dangers this film has warned us about.
Yeah.
And he oddly points out that the safest place in Britain is Hillsborough Stadium. Which, as the kids say, didn't age well. Yeah, while you fools were worried about blankets. Yeah. So as the credits roll, the survivors go home, and it's time for News at 10. Anything you'd like to add, Chris?
You know, I mean, there is some good advice in there, as much as we're going to mock it. Like, I did have to get all new windows put in after I hosted that dwarf tossing contest.
Oh, jeez.
So, I mean, there's some good points they're making.
Anything you didn't talk about? You might want to talk about. Okay, well, look out soon for our next full episode. We'll have a new movie of the week coming from a viewer suggestion. Until then, for Jim Corhan and Chris Morgani, I'm Steve Reeves. Oski Wee Wee.
Oski Wawa.
Holy Maganao.
Tigers.
Eat 'em raw, we did it.